Shalom everybody, and welcome back to our class in Likutey Halakhot, Reb Noson's beautiful discourse, again based on Likutey Moharan lesson 24. This is Likutey Halakhot, section Orach Chaim, the laws of Birkat Hoda'ah, the blessings of giving thanks, which is basically Birkat HaGomel. Discourse number 6, we're still in paragraph 25, about the 9th section in this paragraph. We reach a point now where Reb Noson wants to reconcile, wants to connect and make harmony between what the sages explain and his insight that Reb Noson brought based on Rabbi Nachman's teachings. To recap, Reb Noson said that he's explaining the whole ordeal between Yaakov wrestling the angel of Esav, and that the angel of Esav saw that he couldn't bring him down, so he hit Yaakov in the sciatic nerve. And Reb Noson's interpreting this whole battle as the battle between sadness and depression and the joy of being Jewish, represented by Yaakov Avinu. And he saw that he couldn't succeed in bringing down Yaakov, so he hit him in his descendants, which is represented in the legs, the thigh area, the sciatic nerve area of Yaakov Avinu. We went into all this in the previous classes, and Reb Noson explained the point where the angel wanted to take off. So Reb Noson gave us a beautiful insight that the angel saw that since he did his job already, he did his job of inflicting future sadness in the descendants of Yaakov, and now came the time for Alot HaShachar. Alot HaShachar, dawn, is the time when Jews who are zealous and involved in simcha, who are happy, they wake up early to go and put on the talit and tefillin with joy. They grab, Reb Noson's wording, chotfim, they grab the talit and tefillin to daven in the morning, praising and singing to Hashem, because that's basically all the morning prayer. The bulk of the morning prayer is to praise Hashem. To do that, you have to be in a happy attitude, okay? So he took off, because like Reb Noson explained, based on Likutey Moharan part 2, lesson 10, Sason v'simcha yasigu v'nasu yagon v'nacha. That when a person, part 2, lesson 23, my mistake, that when a person is happy, the sadness stands on the side, waits the person to stop being happy, and then he comes back. So the angel figured, now's the time when the Jewish people are generally happy. It's a time, Alot HaShachar, the shifting between the night into the day is when the Jews are in a happy mode. Now I can't get them, so I'll take off, and I'll come back to them when after they're finished being happy. I'll get them down. And Yaakov held him back, as if to say, no, the main thing is while I'm happy, to remember my problems, to remember why I'm sad and everything, and then bring that into the simcha. We explained that. So Reb Noson wants to reconcile this with the traditional explanation of the sages as brought down in Rashi. We can take a look at the verse again. The verse reads, this is again Parshat Vayishlach, chapter 32, verse 27. Vayomer, the angel said to Yaakov, Shalcheni, let me go. Because the Midrash says, and the Gemara says, he was holding him back. Shalcheni ki ala shachar. Let me go, because dawn has risen. So he asks, so what? What we do? This God dawn has risen. Rashi says, V'tzarich ani lomar shira bayom. And now I have to sing before God at the day, because it says at daybreak, Beron yachad kochvei boker v'yariu kol bnei Elokim. It's when the Jews sing and the angels above also sing. So the angel's telling Yaakov, let me go so I can sing before Hashem. And Yaakov says, no, you're staying here. But we have a contradiction. Reb Noson says the reason why I took off is because the Jews now are in a happy time, so I'm not going to be with them. Okay? And also he did his job, he did the damage, and now he's leaving. But the sages say no, he has to go sing above. So Reb Noson now will join everything together, and there will be, God willing, some more depth and ideas that come out because of this. So look at Reb Noson, look what he says here. Al-Ken, based on everything we said, Amar leYaakov, where the angel said to Jacob, like we just read now, Shalcheni ki ala shachar, let me go, because now it's dawn. And again, Reb Noson's rewording what Rashi says, more close to what the wording of the Midrash and the Gemara. It's a Gemara in Chulin. It's also the Midrash Rabbah. Shigia zmani lomar shira. My appointed time has come to sing shira. The Gemara goes on. So Yaakov says, so you sing tomorrow. He said, they won't let me. The angels will say, just like you didn't sing yesterday, today you won't sing. So Yaakov was saying, you want to sing? You have to pay for it. You have to do your job, give me the blessing, and then I'll let you go to sing. And he kept on stalling him until in the end he blessed him. Okay, that's what the Gemara says in Chulin and the Midrash. Let's go back to Reb Noson. Shigea zmani lomar shira. And Reb Noson says something amazing. And this is a chidush because it's even true about the angel of Esav. Who is the angel of Esav? We don't say his name. Samech Mem Aleph Lamed. We don't say the name. It's dangerous. Samael. We're not allowed to say it. We say, as a joke, we say Uncle Sam, whatever. Samech Mem. Okay? Even he, the angel of Esav, who's so bad and evil, and the whole energy that Esav has till today to persecute the Jewish people in the assimilation we're going through, in the exile we're going through, in all the lust and desires for money and immorality and food, that all the lust and desires are mainly credited to Esav, inducing, introducing, indulging the Jewish people in exile under their dominion, which involves all these ta'avot. So we're in a very bad situation. All this comes from the angel of Esav. And yet the angel of Esav, even he has a mission to sing before Hashem. I remember when I was young, I always heard this insight. Yetzer hara, the evil inclination. First letter of Yetzer is Yud. First letter of Hara is Hey. Yud K from Hashem's name, Ka. It spells out Hashem's name. That even the Yetzer hara is serving Hashem by doing his job of tempting us, making us miserable, putting us into the test. That's him serving Hashem. So ultimately, even the angels who were created, like the angel of Esav, who's evil, very bad, but yet in his evil, he was created by God, and he has, as an angel, still to do his job of praising Hashem. In his case, he's praising Hashem for the opportunity to make us fall and fall deep into sadness and depression and in sin and iniquity and all types of blemishes. But he's singing because he was created to test us in that area, and he's doing his job. So look at Reb Noson. He's going to quote another lesson in Likutey Moharan to develop this idea. Okay? שהגיע זמני לומר שירה, כי כל המלאכים למעלה אומרים שירה בשמחה. Because it's a rule, Reb Noson says. All the angels above, including the angel of Esav, they sing before God with joy. Besimcha. This is fascinating. They can't sing if they're not happy. Okay? That a person can only sing before Hashem to sing properly if he's happy. Someone who's sad, the person doesn't sing. Someone who's happy, it pushes him to sing. So too, the angel of Esav, in order for him to sing, he also must have happiness. Okay? And Reb Noson says, Ki ze kol chiyutam v'kiyumam. Because by the angels, this is an amazing insight people don't know about, the whole life force of an angel and their established continual existence is dependent upon joy, simcha. Simcha is what keeps the angels going, the angels. And Reb Noson is going to quote a lesson from Rabbi Nachman that it's our job to give chizuk to the angels, to give strength to the angels. Watch this. Uchmo shekatav Admor Zal, and like our master and teacher Rabbi Nachman himself wrote in the Likutey Moharan, part 2, section 2, lesson number 5. That what? We're going to go into this a little. Shenikra medor malachim shechakim al shem haschok v'asimcha v'chule. That the medor, the domain, the place of residing of the angels, they're like 7 heavens. The Gemara goes into in Chagiga. The 3rd heaven, from down to top, is where the angels dwell. And it's called Shechakim. The name given to the dwelling place of the 3rd heaven, from bottom to top, is called Shechakim. Okay? So the Gemara says one thing, and Rabbi Nachman adds another dimension. The word Shechakim means to grind, tochen. Like, a mill, a grinding mill. The shachek means to grind. And the Gemara could have used another word for grinding. For example, tochen, techina, to grind is another word. Why shechakim? So Rabbi Nachman's insight there is the letters for shechak, shin, chet, kuf are the same root letters for the word laughter, schok. Just we change the shin to the sin, which is interchangeable, even in laws of acronyms and laws of comparisons of words. You're allowed to change the sin with the shin, okay? Because they come out from the same motzot tapeh. They come from the same place of the mouth, the gutturals, laterals, etc. So shachak and schok, it's called shachakim because they're happy. Okay, it's shachakim al shem schok. Rabbi Nachman says al shem schok v'simcha v'chule, because of the joy and laughter, etc., that the angels have, and that's how we give them strength. But us being happy gives them strength because that's where they dwell. They dwell in a domain where there has to be happiness for them to do their job. Chas v'shalom, when the Jews don't do their job of being happy, it has a rippled effect, repercussion on the angels, and the angels are not happy, and if they're not happy, they're not singing, and if there's no one singing above and no one singing down below, that allows for judgments and judgments to come to the world. So it's a big thing. We have a big responsibility as Jewish people in this world to be besimcha, because that gives strength to the angels above to be happy, and then they can do the job of praising Hashem, and where they're singing in Hashem, that keeps Hashem away from bringing bad decrees. But let's look inside Likutey Moharan, lesson 5, part 2, section 10. It's the longest lesson in Likutey Moharan, a giant lesson. So we're in part 10 of lesson 5, part 2. In the middle, okay? He talks about simcha here. Look what he says here. And it's in the middle of a discussion about why we have to give strength to the angel. It's a long lesson. Let's just go to the point that Reb Noson is borrowing from Likutey Moharan, part 2, lesson 5. Normally, Reb Noson does not do this. One of the 18 rules in learning Likutey Moharan in depth is that it's called minei ubei. Everything you need to understand the lesson Likutey Moharan is in the lesson itself. You don't have to go shopping elsewhere. But sometimes Reb Noson does go outside only to give you an insight, then bring you back to the lesson and show you how it was there all along. But you have to borrow an idea from the outside lesson in order for the person to understand the idea. Once understood, he sends you back to the lesson and he says, "Did you see it now? Oh, now I see it." That's how Likutey Halakhot works, and Likutey Moharan works also. So it starts like this, the section in section 10 of lesson 5, part 2. Therefore, thus, we have a responsibility to give strength to the angel. Okay, how do you do that? Again, it's in the middle of a discourse, but we're focusing on this one point. Us giving strength to the angel is through joy. Bivchinat, like it says in Mishlei Proverbs, chapter 15, Lev sameach yetiv panim. A happy heart brings goodness to the countenance, causes a good, yetiv, tov, panim, gives a good countenance. Now, what is a countenance? Panim. What does the face correspond to? Which is dependent on a happy heart. The happy heart brings goodness to the face, the countenance. Ze bechinat malach. Countenance in this verse is referring to, among the many other things it's also referring to, but in our context, in this lesson, it is the concept of an angel. Ze bechinat malach. Bechinat, like it says in Isaiah, chapter 63, in the blessings there of consolation, umalach panav hoshiam. Okay? And the angel of his countenance, Hoshiam, was sent to save the Jewish people, to save them. Umalach panav. So the verse is connecting an angel to the countenance. Malach panav, the angel of the countenance. So it equals. One equals one here. That malach is equal to panav, Hoshiam. Okay? And so an angel of his countenance delivered them. So Rabbi Nachman uses this as a proof that face, countenance, and angel are connected. So when it says in the verse, Lev sameach yetiv panim, a happy heart makes a good countenance, is basically translating as right now, a happy heart brings goodness to the angels. It gives goodness, which means strengthens, tov. So when there's goodness, there's a strength. The person is an item. That's in this case the angels are strengthened. Okay. Shenitchazek alidei slev sameach. That the angel, who's the countenance, like in the verse in Isaiah 63, is strengthened through a good, happy heart. A happy heart. So now here we go. This is what we want to get to. Valken, therefore, based on all this, Mekom malachim nikra shechakim. The place of the angels, which is listed in, again, the Gemara Chagiga, page 12b, lists 7 levels of heaven. The third level, from bottom to top, is called the dwelling place, the residing place of angels. Razi Alamach says there's 180,000 angels there in that level, grinding manna for the tzaddikim in the world to come. We'll go into this a little, the Gemara. Alken mekom malachim nikra shechakim. The place of the angels is called shechakim, the grinding place. Why is it called shechakim? So Rabbi Nachman says al shem schok v'simcha. Because it was called shachak, because it's grammatically similar to the word for laughter, schok. And schok is laughter connected to joy. Person laughs like a sincere laughing when he's happy. Schok v'simcha. And then he says again, ki ikar chizuk hamalachim alidei simcha. Because the main way to give strength to an angel is through simcha. Okay? So Reb Noson sends us here to show that the attitude of angels is joyous. What did he just say over here now in our Likutey Halakhot? Ki kol malachim lemala omrim shira besimcha. All the angels above, they sing shira with joy, because their existence is dependent on joy. And if the angels are doing their job, you give chizuk to the angels, the angel does his job of singing, okay? It's because there's simcha involved, okay? Ki ze kol chiyutam b'kiyumam. Like we said, the whole life source and established existence is dependent on simcha. That's why their domain is called shechakim, okay? Because it's dependent on schok. Like we just saw right now, that shenikra medor malachim, the dwelling place of the angel, is called shechakim because of the schok and laughter, okay? So now, being deep, the Torah is so deep. Are you going to tell me that grinding manna, because it's grammatically similar to laughter, so it's connected? There must be more to it. We have to see what's going on. Let's take a look for a second in this Gemara itself. Okay, we're going to the Gemara. A quotation from Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish is listing the 7 levels of heaven. First is called Vilon, the lowest one, or drape. Second is called Rakia, firmament. And the third one is called Shechakim. Okay? So the part of the Gemara, again, this is Chagiga, page 12b. Shechakim. Why is it called Shechakim? Reish Lakish says, Shebo Rechaim Omdot. In this type of celestial band of heaven, number 3, this firmament, this band of heaven, celestial band, Shebo Rechaim Omdot, there you have grinding mills are placed over there. V'tochanot man tzadikim latid lavo, and they, referring to the angels, okay, they grind manna for the tzadikim latid lavo. That it's angels is not mentioned explicitly, but all the commentaries, especially the book Razi Malach, they say, and also Otio de Rabbi Akiva, they say it's the angels who are grinding the manna. They're grinding manna. What an amazing concept. Manna has to be ground. The answer is yes. Spiritual manna is grounded. Why? The commentators explain, manna is such a holy food that the tzaddikim in the world to come feast off of it, and from what they're going to feast in the future, they in the present draw that enjoyment. Meaning, when tzaddikim eat in this world, even they're eating a physical matter, lafa, falafel, vegetables, fruit, meat, whatever, they connect their essence and their mind to the reward of the future, and it's enjoying manna, which is a spiritual food, and then bring it into the present eating of a physical nourishment to make it spiritual. For that to happen, there has to be a type of constriction, to take this big spiritual matter of a spiritual manna that they're going to eat from, to break it down in a present physical connection to make it a spiritual enjoyment. So the man has to be constricted, which is the idea of grinding it into smaller portions. Okay, so the angels are tochanim. They're grinding man letzadikim for the future world, for their future reward. Sheneemar, like the verse reads, Vaitzav shechakim. It's a verse from Psalms, chapter 78, where it says, Vaitzav shechakim mima'al. Hashem ordered the shechakim, which is this third level of heaven above, V'dalte shamayim patach, and the doors of heaven Hashem opened, now letting down what's in the third domain of the heaven, which is called shechakim. The next verse, this is verse 23 in Psalms chapter 78. The next verse, the very next verse, 24 reads, Vayamter alehem man lechol, and Hashem sent like rain, like matar, rain on them, man, from this heaven of shechakim. He sent it down manna lechol. This is the Jews in the desert. That the Jews in the desert who had manna were receiving from the same heaven that Reish Lakish says the tzaddikim are going to receive also manna. It's the same level of firmament that's giving the manna. Number 3. So the verse says explicitly in Tehillim that shechakim, that Hashem opens up with doors to let down the manna. Lechol udgan shamayim natan lamo. And the grain of heaven Hashem gave to his nation. Okay? Fine. This is what the Gemara says. But how is this connected to laughter? What in the world is going on here? Schok, shachak, okay, Rabbi Nachman, I got the point. It's grammatically similar, but that's it? So there's something pretty deep here. The angels have joy because they are grinding manna for tzaddikim. In other words, the characteristic of the angels who are created not for themselves, but they're created just for the explicit will of Hashem, period. If it's to do messenger, slichut, like in the case of Michael and Gabriel, saving Lot, etc., the angels sent, that Yaakov sent, okay? When angels are sent by tzaddikim, or Hashem is using angels, that's their whole existence. They're not here for themselves. So therefore, when they do shlichut, a messaging job, which is also a service, they're happy because they're doing their mission in life. So when the angels are grinding for tzaddikim man, and that's the reward that the tzaddikim get, so automatically the angels are filled with joy and laughter. It's not just joy, simcha, but it's a joy that leads to a laughter. The angels are laughing, ha ha ha. Their spiritual mouths are being opened, and once there's laughter and their mouths are open, it's now the basis for singing Shira, okay? So here you see something phenomenal in that the Torah is hinting that true laughter, true joy comes when A does kindness, does chesed, does good for B. Just like the angels were doing for the tzaddikim, and they're doing the pe'ula, the activity of shechika, grinding, to grind, and that brings them schok, like Rabbi Nachman points out. It's because doing for others is the true simcha. You see that in life also, that when you do a true chesed, you do true kindness of serving others, you feel so good about it, it gives you a tremendous joy. I remember once seeing here in Yerushalayim, there was some Breslover Chassid who organized giving out fresh chickens to poor families in Yerushalayim. And he had flipped the world. I don't know how he did it, but we'd find people visiting Israel and get them to sponsor the chickens, and not just to sponsor them, but to give them out to the poor people. So I remember seeing there, I was once in line to receive the chickens also. So I saw in the eyes of the regular Jewish guy, maybe not even religious, he had those the kotel white kippas from the kotel, one of those type of kippas, and he's standing in this guy's little warehouse, little room with tons of chickens, fresh chickens packaged already, whatever, and giving 2 chickens per family for Shabbat, whatever. And you saw the glitter in the eye of the person doing that. He was so happy to do that he's actually giving out. That's why the guy did it, to make him feel good that you're actually doing something positive with your tzedakah, your charity, and he felt good about it. He was happy. He was so interested into giving the chickens. You see him smiling, and he wasn't like shocked and scared to do it. He was so happy to do it, even though he's like for him seeing Yerushalmi Jews as like a UFO from outer space, because he's from a different world. He may be from like Kentucky, who knows, Alabama or whatever, secular North American culture, and yet he's encountering like very ultra Orthodox Jews that he's not so used to knowing, but doing the chesed, feel that he believes and knows he's doing the right thing, makes him feel good. So Rabbi Nachman, by the way, in breaking all this down, the connection is showing that the schok of the angels is because they're shochek, and that's what gives them nourishment, their life. And it's a lesson that true simcha, real simcha, like the angels, because it works fine. It works A, B, B, A. The angels are dependent on us being happy, like it says in this lesson 5. You have to give chizuk to the angel, but also vice versa. We can learn from the angels that when they're doing for others, which is their mission, that brings them the simcha. Shchok, shochek. They're grinding for the tzaddikim man, grinding so that in this world the tzaddikim can also gain pleasure from their future reward, the future mana that's waiting for them. It's ground so that they can still partake of it even now in the physical world, to have that connection to their mana. And the angels are happy about it, okay? And the chidush is that even the angel of Esav is happy in doing his job. He's doing the mission that he was sent by Hashem to make the Jewish people stumble, to make them in a bad place. And even though the Zohar and the Kabbalah speaks terribly about this angel Samech Mem, we wouldn't say his name, that's how bad he is, and his wife, the spouse, which we for sure don't say her name, Lilith, we don't say it, we just can write it out, whatever, okay? Even though they're so bad, yet Reb Noson's pointing out, them amongst the other angels, they also sing. And he sings when? At dawn. Ki ala shachar, like Rashi said in the pasuk, it's my time to sing. This is my designated time, and if I don't sing now, I'm not gonna have the chance to sing again, because they'll take it away from me if I don't use my slot, which is now, to sing. They'll punish me that I won't be able to sing another time. And the angels want to sing. That's their ratzon. They were created to be happy, and the byproduct of happiness is laughter, and the byproduct of laughter is this attitude of singing before Hashem. Okay, so we still have to resolve. So if that's the case, why is this angel so bad, and why they're bad angels? Because Hashem will continue this point in the next class. If in the meantime you do have any questions on what we just spoke about, or comments, or want anything else to know about it, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp only, please. A private message. My number it's an American number, so it's +1 732 800 1863 732 800 1863. Chodesh Tov Umvorach.